Come and dream with me.
Hello, welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premier media podcast. Every week we get together to talk about movies, TV, and online content to help you answer the question, what would you do if you saw Ghostface standing on a street corner? Run away. I'm your host, Ashley Hobley. Joining me today, Dylan Blight.
I'm very excited. Oh, no, I can't say that. I'm skipping ahead to a segment. Anyway, yeah, cool. I'm glad to be here.
No, I bring that up because apparently, they're doing the... Apparently, the Screen people.
Oh, they're doing the
marketing.
Viral
They had
marketing,
someone in Ghostface mask just standing on a street corner, like staring at people.
Is it out yet? Or like they haven't published the video yet?
I don't think so. But yeah, several people called the police on this person.
Fuck yeah.
You know,
I love those. I miss it. I feel like obviously part of it, the problem was COVID, so we didn't get them for ages.
Yeah.
But I love these viral marketing videos. I know some people hate them. Like, they're like, oh, it's so cringe or whatever, but I love a good viral marketing video.
How do you feel about, do you see the thing going around where you could sign up to get phone calls from Ghostface?
Yeah, it's cool. I like it. I'm down. You get called back. Hello, Dylan, what's your scary movie? I'm like, oh. It's a hard question.
Give me some time.
It's Scream. It's a true question. You gotta say Scream.
Yeah. Otherwise, he comes and kills you.
Otherwise you have 7 days to live. Oh wait, that's the Ring.
Jeez. All right. On today's episode, we'll be talking about what's in our West history, discussing some film news, giving the thumbs to trailers, and discussing this week's top 3. Let's kick things off. Dylan, you watched Creed 3.
I did finally.
I talked about it last week. Loved it. Did you love it as much as the first two movies?
I did. I loved it. I actually think it's the best one. I'd have to go back and rewatch it though. Here's my problem. I feel like I haven't done a rewatch, but in my mind, at least now, I just watched that and I haven't watched the other ones for a couple of years. Yeah, territory. I'm on with the mind. I really like just having a full separate, because obviously this is the first one without no Rocky, and
yes,
like it just there's something about that I like, and that's at the same time there's something about that a lot of people won't like. Because it's so
because they love Rocky,
now, I guess. Because I love Rocky, but which is fine. I like Rocky. I've watched all the movies. You've watched none, right?
I've watched Creed.
One. Yeah, so you haven't watched any Rockies. What was I going to say? But this movie, I just think it has it's probably got the best villain, if you want to call it that, relationship and stuff. Yeah. Like, it's just antagonist. There's just this whole like the history between them, the build up to like the way the movie deals with, I guess, like that very like machoism sort of stuff, the mental health stuff. Like I feel like it's just a much better written movie with better written characters than the films I feel like I've ever had before. Like first Creed, very, very good. The whole I want to be, I never knew my dad. I want to live up to his legacy. This guy I never met. All this sort of stuff makes for a very engaging movie. However, I've seen that sort of story before, and I feel like that's what gives that, as well as like Creed does it so well, and Creed does that storyline very, very well. Yeah. I'd seen that story before. I hadn't seen the story Creed 3 does before. I hadn't seen this sort of relationship portrayed on screen of, I guess, what do you say, like two black men who like grew up in like we're in a home at some point, like had this relationship, and they go in so separate directions. One goes to prison for 20 years, and then one gets to like, he's super rich now, and he's like had this successful life and whatever else. But all the stuff, and again, I won't spoil it because you didn't either. The way Michael B. Jordan thinks outside the box in the way that he shoots a lot of the actual fight sequences. I saw someone the other day saying they hated the one, I don't know how to describe
the
final fight and that one sequence that's very different than you've seen in any Creed or Rocky movie before. That they said they hated it for some reason. I think it works fantastically for portraying the psychological story that's happening in the ring. I thought it was a very good way to do that and the way everything was playing out. So banger of a soundtrack too. Not as good as the Black Panther movie, but having I can't remember what the studio is called. Anyway, like J. Cole's people and all that did the soundtrack. Way better than Black Panther 2 though. So if you want to go like over rap soundtrack, original soundtrack sort of stuff, then got it going for it. Shot, really, all these really amazing performances. Getting way more Tessa Thompson in this one than we did in the second one was nothing but great. That kid's performance is really adorable. You get sort of representation there that you don't usually see in movies as well, with this this family dynamic of having hard to hear parents like having to like, but it's just portrayed normally. Like it's not like there's no moment in the movie they're like, oh no, our kid, how hard for her. Like it's just like
that's how it is.
So like
it's life.
Just how it is. Yeah, that's life. It's just so I felt like that was good representation as well. So I loved it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I think fantastic. I love all the little anime things that have been coming out like afterwards. Like there's a shot where they kind of punch each other at the same time. I didn't realize that was a Naruto thing. That I look forward to the eventual day when we'll get when the VOD version comes out and people do like side by sides.
Well, they do like a gut in that fight at the start of the movie. They do like that gut punch in slow motion where you see like all the sweat like bounce off that dude.
Yeah, there's some beautiful slow motion.
Yeah.
But I think that final fight is going to be make or break for a lot of people. Like, who want realistic, super, that. But if you love stories, I don't. I've been going back and forth as to whether I love this more than the first Creed or not.
I'd have to rewatch it. It's a problem.
It's hard because the first one is such a
it's very
coming of age story, and like you got all the montages and build up and that kind of stuff. So, and Stallone is actually very good in that movie. So the other thing I love about this one though is it definitely moves away completely. Like the first two movies, like he's in those Apollo shorts both the entire time. This one, he's his own man. He's completely different, Of course, there's like a cool throwback to it, like towards the end. But I think it's a fantastic film.
And I don't think they need to do it anymore. I think this is it.
I think it is. But
I think it's a perfect ending.
I think it's a great run to the trilogy. But I think like I looked at Michael B. Jordan's like Trakt, and there's Creed 4 listed there, but that might just be a placeholder thing.
I think it's a placeholder, surely.
I don't, unless he has a cool story that he wants to tell. But I mean, the option there is to do a
there's
connected
an option
universe.
there's an option for another. There's an option for a much like Creed was a spin-off for Rocky. There's an option for another spin-off and continuing the family legacy if you want to do it that way. But as far as like Apollo,
Michael B. Jordan in the ring,
Adonis Creed's story goes, in the ring and him as the forefront main character, I think it's done. Him returning in this potential spin-off thing, I'm fine with that. But it shouldn't. He's not the main character.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Also, Felicia Rashad, really great. But I joked like after seeing him, like, oh man, the writers must have played Ghost of Tsushima. From that that subplot, that storyline.
I'm trying to think now.
Do you know that the storyline where that friend that has amnesia, Alzheimer's or whatever?
Oh right, yes.
Yeah, so
I forgot about that.
All right. Sticking on the fighting theme, Dylan, you watched AEW's Revolution 2023.
Absolute banger of a pay-per-view. I think it's AEW's best pay-per-view.
That's high praise.
Yeah, there wasn't a match I liked. I feel like
you didn't like a single match?
Sorry, there was a match I didn't not like.
You did not like any
English, motherfucker. Oh damn, I don't speak it. Every match was a banger.
Okay, there we go. To be clear.
And coming into this one, I feel like it was a bit iffy because some of the storylines felt sort of rushed, and then the idea of you had a pay-per-views usually feel very long anyway because they're like 3.5, 4 hours long.
Yep.
They're very long events, obviously. And then them being like, we're doing a 1 hour Iron Man match as the main event. It was a bit like, oh my God, like, is that going to...
How long was the actual show?
Oh, it was like 4 hours.
Okay, yeah.
Whatever, like...
But it's their... Would you say Revolution is their peak show, or...
Well, I
don't think... Yeah, they're all on equal standing because they're so far apart, so...
They're so far apart. I don't know. I know a lot of people treat Double or Nothing as the...
All Out, yeah.
Or All Out as the WrestleMania equivalents. So, yeah, Revolution definitely isn't, but fucking definitely felt like it. It was an all-in show that every match was just phenomenal. Really, really good storytelling. Everyone, I feel like every result was great. There wasn't just... There was like... Texas Deathmatch between Jon Moxley and Hangman Adam Page was just probably the best Texas Deathmatch that wasn't in Japan.
It fulfilled all Jon Moxley's dreams, from what I understand.
Oh my God. There's a part where Jon Moxley stabs Hangman Page with a fucking fork, and you just see blood just splatter all over his chest. Like, it is just nasty. There's a nasty deathmatch those two had, so very good. But yeah, I mean, every match was really good. The trios match was just insanity with different, completely sort of opposing styles between the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and then the House of Black. So, but that was really, really good as well. Even the tag team championship, which I thought was going to go a certain direction, that was the one where I was surprised to see that the Guns actually held on to their titles because they had like 3 other teams in it. But it made sense because FTR showed up at the end, so they're obviously going to win the title soon. Yeah. But that was a really good match. They had lots of just very funny bits, like including Orange Cassidy and Danhausen just being Orange Cassidy and Danhausen versus but Orange Cassidy playing like wrestling Jeff Jarrett was something I didn't think I needed to see, but it was very funny. Being very good at the same time. And then the main event with Bryan Danielson versus MJF was just 1 hour of... It was just like, as far as like doing those is really hard, obviously, for the wrestlers because it's an hour of just intense shit. But like being able to pace those out and keep the audience engaged, I feel like is such a hard task. Yeah, like to keep people engaged and watching a wrestling match for 1 hour. But they managed to do it somehow in a mix of both parts where it was just MJF being an arsehole, and that's his bit. And Bryan Danielson just sort of laughing at him, thinking he was going to win the match very easily. And then, like, there was a part like halfway through it where it was just this insane show that... Because the thing is with MJF, like, when he wants to wrestle, that boy can wrestle. And there's a part where him and Bryan Danielson just, like, throwing backwards and forwards, like, just, like, constant, like, near falls as they're, like, switching holds and all this sort of shit. And it was very, very good. So, yeah, all up, I think it probably is the best pound for pound wrestling show that AEW's done. Did it have like amazing like debuts and all these, you know what I mean, like big showy moments and stuff by new people showing up? No, but as far as wrestling goes, very good.
Awesome. All right, finally a long-awaited film released here in Australia on Paramount Plus with the Al Yankovic story. Of course, the absolutely 100% true retelling of the life of Weird Al Yankovic. As portrayed by Daniel Radcliffe. It is a lot of fun. Definitely a retelling of his life story, like a classic biopic style. But taken to the extremes. It definitely goes in directions you do not see coming. Daniel Radcliffe, fantastic. Unsurprising, but a little bit disappointed that Weird Al voices his singing voice, but I guess it works.
You can't. It's hard to replicate.
It's hard to replicate. Just this hyper stylized, I guess, world, or like a world in which polka music is like incredibly popular and kids are having polka parties.
We found your son at a polka party.
Accordions like the most dangerous weapon instruments out there. yeah, so much fun, and like just silly tangents of how different things come together, and like the idea that his song "Eat It" was original work, and then Michael Jackson came out and released
Beat It, which was a parody.
which is a parody
like,
song. Yeah, and then Evan Rachel Wood plays Madonna and is fucking fantastic through the entire movie. Yeah, what did you think of Weird?
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it's very, very funny. It's this is again, like, we're talking about things that will work for some people and won't work for others. This is, if you like, especially if you don't know Weird Al, this is not that you can not know anything about Weird Al and watch it. You need to at least understand, I feel, like, his music, like the parody, like the fact he's a parody artist, not like just not a very serious like musical artist.
Yeah.
And then the fact that his biopic is a parody of real autobiography movies is sort of how that it all plays out. Because if you went into this going, I don't know who this is, but the movie will probably be good, you'll be very
explain his life in a completely rational way.
Yeah. But I thought it was so good. Daniel Radcliffe's really, really good as the way he, like, that scene where you're like sitting in the thing and he's like staring at the bologna, like just his eyes wide, and he's like just grabs the bologna, and just his friend's reaction of, oh my god, it's the most beautiful thing I've ever had in my life. Like,
we need to record this right now.
We need to record this right now. All this stuff. The fact that he had this very big relationship with Madonna and like all this. Yes, it's a very funny movie. I felt like, in a world where this could have gone either way, as to just being like sort of cringy and not very good, or I thought it was very funny.
All right. Last year we loved She-Hulk, right?
Yes.
One of our favorite characters, played by Ginger Gonzaga, who played She-Hulk's best friend, Nikki, right? Well, she's in a new TV series based on a massive property from the mind of one of the highest grossing directors of all time. She's in the new True Lies TV series.
You went the most roundabout way. Fucking hell.
I'm going to build the idea. So yeah, it follows the idea of True Lies, where there's a husband, he's a spy, but his wife doesn't know. But yeah, she finds out in the course of one episode that he's a spy, and now, I guess, spoiling the pilot, they want to make her a spy so they can be a spy team. And that's the series.
Sound like you love it.
It's okay. It's not overly exciting. I mean, they're going for some stylistic choices where like every single mission has got a code name, and they like lists all the different people who are part of the mission on the screen and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's a pretty basic action TV show. The leads are nice, amusing, because she thinks he's cheating on her at the start, and like, and she's like this bored professor at like a university who's looking for some sort of excitement in her life, and now she'll get that in the form of spy work. Yeah, this seems it sounds like a solid premise for a TV series, but True Lies is such a beloved movie. Seems like you could have easily done this premise without the name. I think that says a lot.
But then would people have watched it?
Probably, if you promoted it correctly. It's interesting also because Linda Hamilton plays the head of the secret spy organization. It's like, there's another tie-in to James Cameron. So, there's that. I also watched the first episode of Dawn of the Dolphins, which is a documentary, 3-part documentary on the new NRL team, the Dolphins. Kind of delving into how they got the process of getting their bid successful, and then kind of signing the first couple of players. Still very early stages. There's some interesting points, like they bring up how the name is just the Dolphins instead of being like the Redcliffe Dolphins or the Moreton Bay, like having a location attached to the name of the club, and how that's like there's like legal reasons as to why they couldn't just call themselves the Redcliffe Dolphins, and then why they decided to, like, because they're going to represent a large area, they didn't want to, like, put their name down to one specific place. But then also, like, they include some of the criticism of that decision, and, like, they, like, the way they bring it up is, like, they have, like, a stand-up comic doing a routine about how funny it is that they're called the Dolphins and not the Redcliffe Dolphins or anything. But then they show them designing the uniform, something that was incredibly criticized online, and they've got no mention of that. So I think, you know, it's interesting picking and choosing. I think it's solid. It's not overly I mean, if you don't care about rugby league or any of that, you're not going to care too much about this. I think the major thing that's kind of interesting is Wayne Bennett's pretty involved. Someone who's been very, who's kept his opinions to himself and is not very, doesn't give a lot of interviews and that kind of stuff. He's known for giving very short and sturt answers at press conferences and that kind of stuff. So hearing him talk about the process and that kind of stuff is quite interesting. It also, I think the opening moments of the documentary are quite interesting, of him talking about him being very much an introvert and him having to struggle with that to become an NRL coach, one of the best of all time, and having that anxiety of having to talk to people, but having to overcome it every time so he can do his job and that kind of stuff. That's kind of interesting, and hopefully that's something that's kind of explored going forward. But yeah, I think it's a solid documentary. Really good timing because they just played their first match over the weekend in which they won. So, I mean, couldn't ask for a better lead-in, I guess. But yeah, that's over on Stan. There's a new episode every week for the next 2 weeks now. So, all right. Let's move into the mandatory Netflix segment of the show. There's only one thing on the list. I watched the live stand-up special, Chris Rock, Selective Outrage.
How did you know that this was on and live?
Research.
So you were looking forward to it, so you just made sure?
Well, I knew it was a thing because I knew it was a thing,
but I don't recall seeing any promotion for it.
No, there wasn't a lot. I know what really got me to go watch it is because they announced that there was going to be the before the show and after the show, panel things, and the before the show hosted by our boy Ronnie Cheng. So I needed to watch that. But it wasn't very specific. I'm like, oh, is there going to be a countdown thing leading up to it? I think the show started at 1:00. There was nothing. You would think in the lead up to your first live event, you would have it front page, countdown or prepare or nothing. It's I went back and checked half an hour before it was set to go, and the pre-show had started. I'm like, oh crap, I'll stop watching what I'm watching and go watch this now. But it run pretty seamlessly, for their first venture into live.
Because we talked about how this is stuff they want to start doing more.
Yeah.
So the criticism straight away is they did a terrible job at promoting and having it be a
just that would be my main thing. Do a countdown or have something on the page so I could find it quickly. Only thing is you can click on the thing that says Selective Outrage and it will remind you that it's coming up. And even then, it wouldn't remind you when it first started. It would probably remind you after it actually aired. I would imagine.
What they need is, you know how if you click on YouTube live video thing, you not only do you get an email, I think half hour prior to a live thing showing if you've clicked the little button say you want to watch it. You're also if you're watching YouTube or you have YouTube open, it pops up and says, "Hey, this thing's about to start. Do you want to head on over to there?"
Yeah.
So way Netflix should do it is same sort of thing. You get an email if you tick a box and say you want one. You get an email alert saying, "Hey, it's out." And two, if you have Netflix open, it pops up. If you're watching something else on Netflix, it pops up and says, "Hey," you know how it pops up and says do you want to keep watching? It pops up and says, "Hey, sorry to interrupt, but that thing you wanted to watch live, let's just start soon."
Yeah, but I mean, it worked pretty seamlessly. I was able to back scrubble the 5 minutes that I was missed at the start of the pre-show. So that all worked pretty seamlessly. That's the only thing was that obviously didn't give you the when you scrubble on any Netflix thing, it will give you the screen preview of where in the show it is.
So it didn't have
Couldn't do
that.
that. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's understandable because
live,
that's. I would imagine that would be difficult to pull off live, whereas like when it's completed video, it would be easier to do that sort of thing. But yeah, otherwise, the pre-show very funny. Ron and Chang. It's interesting they did the pre-show and the after show from LA in the Comedy Store while the actual show was taking place in Baltimore, on the other side of the country.
Who was on the actual pre-show?
Had Ron Chang. They had Dion Cole as the DJ. They had what's his name? Arsenio Hall did a set, like a 5-minute bit, 10-minute set. Leslie Jones did a set, and then JB Smoove did like a bit as well. Yeah. And then on the post show they had JB Smoove, Arsenio Hall, David Spade, and what's his name? Dana Carvey. And then Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and what was the other lead? They had one female voice on the post show. Yvonne Orji from Insecure talking about the set, which I think was kind of weird. Overall, solid show, I guess. There were some fun bits. There's some, like, I've heard some bits before, like he made some abortion jokes and being like, oh, I've spent more money on abortions than any of these women. I should be able to talk about abortions, There's some like kind of on the edge stuff. Like his big thing is him being upset about selective outrage. One of the only bits I remember is like, you've got these people who won't listen to R. Kelly, but they're more than happy to play Michael Jackson. It's like selective outrage. Same crime. This person's music's just way better. But then of course the big thing from the special, it was of him talking about the Will Smith slap. Reasonably well timed, obviously being a week before the Oscars.
Perfectly, as if they did it on purpose.
Almost, yeah. To bring that all up again. Yeah, I mean, he goes in hard on them and that kind of stuff. It's a funny bit, but yeah, overall it was like kind of a solid show. Interesting. He does like flub a couple of lines, like he mixes up Emancipation and Concussion, the two Will Smith movies, so kind of flubs the punchline of one of his jokes, which is a major reason why these stand-ups don't do it live, so they can fix stuff like that for a special that they'll probably have play for the rest of time. But yeah, I mean, it was fine. I don't think it's the most incredible stand-up show I've ever seen, but it's Chris Rock and he's pretty solid at what he does. There's probably going to be a lot of stuff that people will be offended by. Especially, yeah, it was enjoyable as a first live special thing. It worked pretty seamlessly, so if that's a direction that Netflix wants to go in the future, clearly they've got the infrastructure to make that work. All right, that's everything I watched history. Let's move to some film news, and really there's only one big subject matter, and we're 1 week away from the Academy Awards. The end of award season has come to a close, and my question for you, Dylan, is, can anything stop Everything Everywhere All at Once? It was won pretty much every single category it could at the Independent Spirit Awards. Took out Best Original Screenplay at the Writers Guild of America Awards. I believe for one of the PGAs. Took out a whole bunch of stuff over the weekend. Is this going to sweep at the Oscars this year?
I've again got to continue to say no, because that's not in line with my predictions that I've made. Would I be okay and happy if it swept at the Academy Awards? Of course. I think it would be great. There's a few categories I feel like Everything Everywhere at Once is a shoo-in for, but there's just those couple big ones, especially the film where I'm just a director where I'm like, I don't know, the Academy is just a different beast, Like, do the Academy voters want to give it the Daniels, the people that did the Turn Down for What video and the fart movie? Like,
wish he was shaking his penis all over the place.
Yeah, I just, yeah, I definitely just view
The guys made a
Academy
movie about a dead corpse.
Yeah, literally. It's not even a joke. It's just it's literally the
Or a
movie.
farting corpse is probably
Farting
a
corpse,
better
yeah.
adjective.
Their Jennifer Coolidge photo shoot though. Perfection.
So,
As a shout out. as
Yeah.
as a side note. But yeah, I think it's fantastic they've been winning. I thought the most interesting story that I saw in a world where was it Kiyu Kwan? No.
Yep.
Yeah. In a world where obviously he's been winning everywhere. And I feel like he's done a million interviews at this point. I'm like, how are you not out of things to talk about? There was the one that came out at Spirit Choice where he was saying that he couldn't get his insurance ran out and he couldn't get hired, and then he was like trying to get hired for another role before Everything Ever at Once had come out, and he was like asking people like, is this movie good? Do you reckon I'll get hired still? Like, no, because he's like trying to like bring back his career and stuff. So yeah, it's just like interesting. Now here he is winning all the awards. So
yeah. Yeah, I think it definitely has all the momentum going in. Of course, the Academy is a big beast, but of course, a lot of these specialized categories, like, they've still been winning. I don't think they'll win every single thing they're nominated for, but I'm less confident in my prediction that Spielberg's going to win director and that Cate Blanchett is going to be lead. But yeah, I'm excited. I fear that if they do win too much, there'll be like a little bit of a backlash against it, like against the movie, which, it would be my only thing to make them hope they don't win everything. It's like, because if you win too much, people get upset. Like, people will shit talk Schitt's Creek after that year where they won pretty much every Emmy that they possibly could. So yeah, I think, that's the thing. Other interesting point over the weekends, the cinematography awards were held. Elvis won for cinematography. So, there's a chance, I think we all predicted All Quiet on the Western Front. I don't know if that was nominated, seeing as it was a foreign language film, for the ASC awards, because it's an American awards.
yeah, so I would say not.
Yeah, Tar and All Quiet on the Western Front were not among the nominees. So, but yeah, it's. What are your hopes for the Academy Awards? Obviously, we're less than a week away. What do you want to see, and what don't you want to see?
I don't want to see any fucking jokes or hints by any hosts about the Will Smith thing. My God.
I mean, in a dream world, Chris Rock would come out and he's got like 7 bodyguards around him. He plays it completely straight, doesn't do any jokes, just presents the category.
No, I don't want that either. Move on. I don't know. Who's hosting this year? I can't even remember now.
Kimmel,
that's right. So pretty safe host pick. Neither a good or a bad thing. I don't know. I hope it's a better. Like last year's was, at least as far as I remember. I remember thinking last year
was fine.
a decent show. So
obviously it was overshadowed by that one moment.
That one moment, yeah. So hopefully, if it's at least that, but not over. If all the awards aren't overshadowed by something like that, then it would make it a better year already. So because that was a problem with the Will Smith thing, it just completely overshadowed any of the award, actual recognition and stuff from it. Now, when people think about that Oscars, they just think about the slap.
The slap, yeah.
The slap heard around the world. Like that, yeah.
Televised around the world.
Televised around the world.
Yeah, I just hope people get time, Of course, they're going back to every award being presented, so that's gonna, that's a lot. I'm hopeful that, all the songs will have cool presentations.
Yeah, well, Triple R.
Triple R, let's do it. Let's hope they can do it safely on screen, on stage. And yeah, I'm also hoping they don't make any more references to animation being just for kids. That would be a good start. Yeah, it's an number one pet peeve.
If they do, I hope it's because Gilmero is having another jab at that being a thing. That's what I'll allow.
Yeah, it's all a bit leading up to Gilmero winning and telling him to suck it. Yeah.
Punches the person on stage who said it. Just knocks them the hell out.
Yeah. So Academy Awards. Looking forward to that. Dylan, every single week, so many different movies and TV shows are announced, different updates, different castings. So we like to group that all together in a segment we like to call Would You Want to Invest? I'll list off a bunch of projects, and Dylan will let me know if he wants to fully invest, partially invest, or not invest on them based on any criteria he deems fit, and then history will be the judge as to whether he was right or wrong. All right, so let's kick off this week's round of Would You Want to Invest? David Johnson, Archie Renault, Spike Fern, and newcomer Aileen Wu have signed on to star alongside Kaylee Spaney and Isabella Merced in a new Alien film that Fede Alvarez is directing for 20th Century Studios. Of course, Fede Alvarez doing the current Evil Dead movie, or is he doing? Did he do the previous?
He did that previous.
He did the 2013 Evil Dead movie.
Yeah.
In the 9th entry in the iconic sci-fi horror series, a group of young people on a distant world find themselves in a confrontation with the most terrifying life form in the universe. Alvarez will direct from his script written with Rodo Sayus.
Yes, I will fully invest. So
Okay.
So he directed. He's directed a couple things I haven't seen, but
Don't Breathe.
His earlier shorts. Well, no. I've seen Don't Breathe. He didn't direct the second one. So that's it. Like Don't Breathe 1, great movie.
Yeah.
Evil Dead, great movie. Girl in Spider's Web, I've watched all his things. He's not earlier his short film. So I feel like I can definitely recall. He did some TV show I didn't watch.
Okay, so apparently it's called Alien Romulus is the working title of the film too.
Which is the ship, I think? I feel like I need to.
I have no idea.
Alien Romulus. That name rings a bell, so... Romulus... Fuck, why? I can't find the answer. I feel like that's the name I know, though. Why do I know that? Maybe I should just Google Romulus, not Alien Romulus, because that's just showing... Oh, no, maybe it's just it's the Roman king.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I know the name. Alright, yeah, I'm down. I don't. What happened to that other thing that was supposed to be happening? Wasn't it a TV series or something? Hulu series?
I think there's still meant to be the TV series from the creator of whatchamacallit?
Yeah, whatever his name is, Noah, whatever.
Yeah. To again, a quick search. And Ridley Scott is apparently still meant to be working on a prequel film, like the Prometheus era.
It's all coming up. Alien.
Production on the TV series was delayed until 2023, so...
Okay. Alright, sure. Well, yeah, I'll fully invest. I like obviously, like, Alien, like, I think the director's a good choice and everything like that, so, yeah, I'll fully invest.
Alright. Sony has landed global rights to the sister comedy My Ex's Wedding to be directed by Kay Cannon in a competitive situation. Cast set for the pick, penned by New York Times bestselling author Taylor Jenkins Reid, who wrote Daisy Jones and the Six, and Ashley Rodger, with revisions by Cannon, who wrote and directed Blockers, includes Academy Award winner Ariana DeBois, Chloe Finman from SNL, Megan Sattler from Hacks, and Academy Award nominee Amanda Seyfried. In the film, heading into production this summer, 4 childhood best friends get a drunken voicemail from their former best friend on the eve of her wedding day, confessing that she thinks she's making a mistake, then setting out to stop her wedding and rekindle the friendship they once shared.
Full invest. So I like Kay Cannon. I like the people involved, the cast.
Mm-hmm.
Synopsis is like whatever, but yeah, Blockers.
Great movie.
What a movie. That's I'll leave it at that. So full invest.
All right. DGA Award winner and 5-time Emmy nominee Paul Feig has found a stellar trio to lead his new action comedy Grand Death Lotto for Amazon Studios in John Cena, Awkwafina, and Simu Liu. The film is penned by Rob Yescombe, is set in a very near future in which a grand lottery has been established in economically challenged California. The only catch, you'll need to kill the winner before sundown in order to legally claim their prize. New LA transplant Katie accidentally finds herself with the winning ticket and must join forces with amateur jackpot protector Noel to make it to sundown in order to claim her multi-billion-dollar prize, all while dealing with Noel's protection rival Lewis, who also wants to get her to sundown in order to claim his rich protection commission.
Did you say Paul Feig?
Yes.
Did they say if it's meant to be serious or a comedy as well? No.
Action comedy.
Yeah, okay. I fully invest in that. I like Paul Feig. I like that setup. I think that's a interesting. Has the potential to be both a comedy as well as a sort of political take on something. Yeah, so I'll fully invest. There was no cast or anything though, was there? It was just
It was John Cena, Awkwafina, Simu.
John Cena, Awkwafina. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, 100%. Full invest. Easy. That sounds great.
All right. Amazon Studios has partnered with Toronto company to develop The Better Liar, a drama series based on the book of the same name by Tannen Jones. Daisy Ridley is set to star in an executive produced the adaptation written and executive produced by Rayleigh Tucker from True Blood. In The Better Liar, when a woman hires a lookalike in an effort to conceal her sister's death and claim their shared inheritance, her deception exposes a dangerous web of lies. No, a web of dangerous secrets.
I watched the trailer for this. What was that other Karen Gillan one we watched the trailer for? I feel like I haven't ever seen come out. It was like a clone or some weird thing or...
What? Duel with Karen Gillan?
Yeah, was that... Did that come out?
Yeah, that came out.
Okay, cool. I'll pass on this.
Speak of daisies. Leyline Entertainment and First Gen Content have an all-star ensemble for its production of On Swift Horses as Daisy Edgar Jones, Jacob Elordi, Will Poulter, Diego Calva, and Sasha Cale are on board to star. Daniel Minhan is set to direct with Peter Sears and First Gen's Molly Asher producing. Based on the novel by Shannon Perfil, the story follows newlyweds Muriel and Lee, who are beginning a bright new life when he returns from the Korean War. However, this newfound stability is upended by the arrival of Lee's charismatic younger brother, Julius, a wayward gambler and with a secret. A dangerous love triangle is quickly formed as the three vow to start a new life together in California, but their bid for the American dream is blown apart when Julius disappears and heads for Las Vegas instead. Muriel embarks on a secret life of her own, gambling on rare sources and discovering a love she never thought possible.
I'm not investing in that. That sounds way too convoluted. I know what the fuck. You lost me halfway through. No, I'm not investing.
Wow. You heard it here first. Dylan hates complicated movies.
That's right.
All right. Last film for this week. Cassie David, John Rositsky, Karen Sony, Olivia Cooper, Taylor Hill, and Jason Alexander will lead the heist comedy Stealing Pulp Fiction, marking the feature debut of writer-director Danny Turkowitz, which has wrapped production in Los Angeles. Billed as a love letter to the classic Quentin Tarantino pick and the history of cinema as a whole, the film is based on Turkowitz's short of the same name, which he wrote and directed at the height of the COVID pandemic. It follows friends Jonathan, Elizabeth, and Steve as they attempt to steal Tarantino's personal 35mm print of Pulp Fiction. Along the way, their kooky therapist, Dr. Mendelbaum, finds himself drawn into the heist, adding both humor and unexpected twists to the story.
Hold on. Who was doing that?
It seems like a first-time director.
Yeah, so I don't know. Okay. I'll partial this then.
Okay.
Partial this. Although I feel like that was nearly.
Does it live or die on whether Quentin Tarantino is involved directly or not? Or?
Yeah, he's not going to be involved. I highly doubt it. So I'll partial invest because people want to watch it. I don't know if it'll be any good. Probably be. I don't know. It sounds like it's set up for failure, to be honest. But yeah, I'll go partial invest.
Okay. All right, let's move into giving some thumbs to trailers. Of course, you'll find all the trailers that we're about to talk about in the show notes below or by going to the show page on explosionnetwork.com. First trailer for this week. Agent Elvis, created by John Eddy and Priscilla Presley. Starring Matthew McConaughey, Caitlin Olsen, John Cheadle, Johnny Knoxville, Niecy Nash-Betts, Tom Kenny, Jason Mantzoukas, and Priscilla Presley. Elvis trades in his white jumpsuit for a jetpack when he is covertly inducted into a secret government spy program to help battle the dark forces that threaten the country he loves, all while holding down his day job as the king of rock and roll. Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for Agent Elvis?
I hadn't heard about this at all. I don't know if you had.
Yeah.
I had no inkling of this, and I just clicked play on the trailer. I was like, wow, this is wild. I'm giving it double thumbs up. I think it looks absolutely ridiculous, but fantastic at the same time. The voice cast is really great. It reminds me of, it's like, what would you call it? It's like, BoJack Horseman and Archer. Yeah, those two were the ones I was sort of in the line of. So yeah, I'm all about it. It looks just so fucking dumb, but so fun. It honestly feels like something he would have done if he was alive. If he was still alive, I feel like Elvis would have just voiced himself in this.
Okay. I'm gonna give it one up, one down. I think it's it might be a little too over the top for my taste, which is hard to say. I had fun. It's interesting that Priscilla is involved and help create the show.
Yeah.
Purely from a Australian point of view, because the Presley estate did not enjoy the Australian animated TV series Little Elvis. Not fans. Wanted it shut down.
I remember that show.
But that might be the fact that, Elvis had a child out of wedlock. Or a child, out of his marriage. Would be the thing they took issue with. Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like it's trying to be an Archer-like-esque show. Or like Deadpool, but with Elvis. With his crazy over-the-top action stuff and a monkey. So, yeah. This is releasing on Netflix March 17th. Next trailer, Unstable. Created by Rob Lowe, John Owen Lowe, and Victor Fresco. Starring Robert Lowe, John Owen Lowe, Sean Clifford, Aaron Branch, Rachel Marsh, Emma Ferreira, and Fred Armisen. In a biological research company, a son with social problems is forced to work for the company of his father, an extremely eccentric and exotic mechanic, to save him from disaster. Dylan, what do you think of Unstable?
I was sort of mixed on this one. I'm gonna be honest. For the first half of the trailer, I was very much like, I don't know. This seems like sort of trying too hard to fit in line with the success of some of the things we've had, like Mythic Quest or something like that. It honestly seems like it's the same sort of vibes and stuff. But by the end of the trailer, and then when I did a quick search and found out it's his real son playing his son in this, just sort of added a weird wholesome vibe to everything within it. So I'm gonna go one up, one down. I feel like the trailer was there's just something about the way the trailer come across, but yeah, I went from being like, no, I don't want to watch this, to at least wanting to check out the first episode.
Yeah, I'm very much on the same boat where it definitely, I'm like, oh, is this a Elon Musk parody? Where it's this smart guy this guy trying to be smart and being eccentric for the sake of being eccentric.
Yeah, exactly, that sort of stuff. Yeah,
it's just another take on Edward Norton and Glass Onion. Is that what this is? But no, apparently he is actually smart. So I mean, that makes it a little bit of a difference. Weird twist. But yeah, I think it's interesting, the father-son dynamic. It's cool to see Sean Clifford, who was in Fleabag in something again. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Yeah, like you said, I'll probably give the first episode a shot and see how it goes. It definitely seems like Rob Lowe playing an eccentric dial to 11 version of himself. So that could be fun. So Unstable comes to Netflix on the 30th of March. Next trailer, The Blackening. Directed by Tim Story, starring Yvonne Orji, Grace Byers, Jermaine Fowler, Melvin Gregg, and Jay Farrow. A group of black friends reunite for a Juneteenth weekend getaway, only to find themselves trapped in a remote cabin with a twisted killer. Forced to play by his rules, the friends soon realize this ain't no motherfucking game. Dylan, what did you think of the trailer for The Blackening?
Yeah, I'm going double thumbs up. I think this looks great. This comedy horrors are I feel like they're making a comeback. I feel like I've had a lot of comedy horrors that are good in the last 24 months. Or maybe I'm dreaming that, but I'm all for it because comedy horrors, when done well, very, very good. You get to be both scary and make people shit their pants and laugh at the same time. So, but the whole vibe of the first setup of, black people usually die first in the, horror movie. So got to pick the blackest of you two. I voted for Trump twice. That's the thing. I've never even watched Friday. I thought it was very funny. Double thumbs up.
Yeah, this is 2 thumbs up from me as well. So this is interesting because it's based on a Comedy Central short, which I watched after watching this trailer. But it's only in America, so I need to use VPN or whatever.
Quick pause on that because I knew, going back to Weird Al. Did you know that was based on the short?
No, was it?
Yeah,
the whole film.
Aaron Paul played Weird Al in the original thing they did.
Okay, I need to go look that up.
Yeah, so you just reminded me, and I forgot to mention that. But yeah, there you
go. But yeah, so the short that it is based on is just the scene where they're trying to decide who's the blackest out of the group. But it looks, obviously this has been expanded upon, and there's this weird serial killer with a crossbow, which is, I guess, an original weapon. They pull out that board game. It's the most Jim Crow bullshit ever. It's wow, that's I don't know how, are they even allowed to show this on screen? But yeah, I mean, it looks very interesting. Like you said, it looks like it'll be a fun comedy horror film. And obviously it's got the pedigree behind it from Tim Story doing Girls Trip, which was obviously a huge comedic success. So whether he can translate that to
different
horror genre, I know.
Horror genre,
is the thing. So set to release in America on the 16th of June. No Australian release date, unfortunately. Next trailer is for Up Here, created by Steve Levinson, Kristen Anderson Lopez, Robert Lopez, Danielle Sanchez Witzel, starring Mae Whitman, Carlos Valdez, Katie Finneran, John Hodgman, Andrea Burns, Sophia Hammonds, and Emilia Suarez. Set in New York City in 1999, Lindsay and Miguel fall in love and discover that the single greatest obstacle to find happiness together might just be themselves, and the memories, obsessions, fears, and fantasies that live inside their heads. Dylan, what did you think of the trailer for Up Here?
Yeah, I'm going one up, one down. I think it's quite odd to see Cisco in this role for a start. I'll get that right out of the way. So it's very sort of just odd, but that's fine. Yeah, I thought the trailer was weirdly paced with the very much from the start, very if you don't know anything about it, it's like a reveal curtain pull back. They're it's a musical. A minute 30 in, they're gotcha. And then they do a montage of music bits, and then they sort of just switch back to what seems I don't know, very odd. And then I'll watch all the end. I was like, oh yeah, so it's got the pedigree for a good movie here. And then they were all episodes, and I was like, what? It's a TV show. All right, so yeah, I'm going one up, one down.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up. I enjoyed it. I understand some of the problems. The major issue I had was the singing levels was weird. The music levels was kind of weird. You'd think it was just very low, for a lot of the singing. Whether they wanted to not highlight that as much, or it was a weird technical thing. But yeah, I mean, Mae Whitman, she's fantastic. Excited to see Cisco not being Cisco. Very weird, and the idea of the physical embodiment of all these voices in their heads, I think, is a lot of fun. Scott Porter, I didn't mention, he plays one of the voices in Cisco's Miguel's head.
That's the other thing I was going to say. I feel like having them just appear as normal people might just be hard to. I don't. It's because will it make it hard to track 3 characters? And I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just that's.
I don't know. I think it works in cartoons, so whether it
it works in cartoons, but
whether it translates into live action, we'll see. But yeah, I thought that was very. It was a lot of fun. All right. So this is coming to Disney Plus on March 24th. All episodes releasing at once. Because that's a Hulu thing, more than the
Disney Plus thing.
A Disney Plus thing. So, not that Disney Plus doesn't do that occasionally, but yeah. Last trailer for this week, and really it's a teaser, but I had to include it because it's a massive. It's the one everybody's talking about. It's one I was looking forward to as soon as they announced the trailer was coming out this week.
Well, your notes last night had a different trailer, and then luckily I didn't watch any of the trailers till this morning because it was like, I'm going to change this if the Turtles trailer comes out. So luckily, I didn't even bother. I was like, I'll just wait and I'll wait until the morning.
All right. So yes, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, directed by Jeff Rao, starring Nicholas Cantu, Micah Abbey, Shamon Brown Jr., Brady Noon, Jackie Chan, Ayo Edebiri, Seth Rogen, John Cena, Hannibal Buress, Rose Byrne, Ice Cube, Post Malone, Paul Rudd, Maya Rudolph, Natasha Demetrio, and Giancarlo Esposito. After years of being sheltered from the human world, the Turtles set out to win the hearts of New Yorkers and be accepted as normal teenagers through heroic acts. Their new friend April O'Neil helps them take on a notorious crime syndicate, but they soon get in over their heads when an army of mutants is unleashed upon them. Dylan, what did you think of the trailer for the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem?
Double thumbs up. I thought it looked really, really good. I like the stylization, the Spider-Man inspired, I guess, aspect to it, if that's the way you'd put it, but also just like the younger... It doesn't seem like we're getting the full origin story, which thank God, but it's obviously just very early days Turtles still, which is good, because I like having they've actually got a young cast playing the kids actually doing them, not adults.
They're all 17 as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, so they're actually teenagers playing teenagers.
Yeah,
I know they're not turtles playing turtles, but guys, we don't go so far. But everything else about this just looks really, really good. The part where it comes up at what does it say at the start? It's like from Seth Rogen,
perpetual teenager,
never grows up, or I thought it was a funny little bit. The whole voice cast just looks really, really fantastic. The fact I get to hear Bebop played by Seth going against John Cena as Rocksteady is I can't wait to hear that back and forth. Master Splinter, Jackie Chan, come on. Yeah. So I think it looks really good. Double thumbs up.
Yeah, this 2 thumbs up for me as well. I think it looks fantastic. Just visually very interesting, and the most teenagerly way you could have introduced the Ninja Turtles and them filming dumb videos on rooftops, destroying watermelons.
throwing stars.
Ninja stars.
Ninja stars. Yeah.
Just the way they talk is so teenagerly,
Yeah. There was a part at the end they're like, so let me get played. No, we prefer ooze.
Yeah, does it sound great? Yeah, just them all talking over the top of them, but everybody kind of understanding what they're all talking about is really beautiful. Just the art style I think really works. Of course, the music they use A Tribe Called Quest in the trailer, just perfectly matching the tone of what they're going for. Just the one shot we get of Rocksteady and Bebop kind of nodding along, and it seems like they're not along with the music. Really interesting. Obviously, they released the entire cast of in the days earlier at the Nickelodeon Teen Choice Awards. I want to say Kids Choice Awards. The cast is stacked of different mutants, so we're going to see a bunch of characters we've never seen in a movie before. In this, I'm very excited. I didn't realize it was going to be animated. This film had been on the on the schedule for a long time. I, for some reason, thought they were going to try and do live action again. But I'm very happy that they've decided to go in the animation route, because probably the best of the Ninja Turtles has been in animation. And And really, this gives me an excuse to go back and watch all the Ninja Turtle movies probably in the lead up to this, for content
There's a lot of
reasons.
movies.
You know.
Yeah. It's a lot of movies.
So yeah, very excited to see Ninja Turtles again. And yeah, the art style is crazy. Spider-Verse, like, I can't think of another movie recently that has had such a massive effect on like a style of filmmaking as Spider-Verse has to the animation industry. It's crazy. All right, this week's top 3. Let's get into it.
Definitely in the top 3.
Of course, South by Southwest is about to take place in the next week. They've got their full schedule out, so I thought this week we would do our top 3 most intriguing South by Southwest film or TV premieres. So Dylan, what was your number 3?
Yeah, so I went with stuff I'd never heard of. So
Yes.
I was like, oh, I feel like that was the thing. So number 3, I went with A Disturbance in the Force, which the synopsis is investigating the infamous The Star Wars Holiday Special with the behind-the-scenes story of how it got made. People on camera for this include Weird Al, Seth Green. So obviously the holiday specials are a wild thing that happened, and you got to wonder how how it happened, and it's just such a weird thing. So behind the scenes of the how, what, where, when, why sounds intriguing to me. Something I would definitely be interested in watching. That's my number 3.
All right.
Comes out soon, apparently.
What?
Comes out soon. It has a March 11th release date, but I don't actually know if that's just...
That might be like a... That's probably when it actually is premiering at South by Southwest.
Yeah, could be,
My number 3, Self-Reliance, film directed by Jake Johnson, starring Jake Johnson. Synopsis: when a man is offered $1 million to play in a game in which hunters try to kill him, he thinks he's found the perfect loophole. They can only attack when he's alone. His only problem is that none of his friends or family believe the game is real. Yeah, I'm down to see Jake Johnson trying to avoid getting murdered by a bunch of hunters in some weird sick game. It's got a really great cast, of course, Jake Johnson himself, Anna Kendrick, Andy Samberg, Natalie Morales, Christopher Lloyd, Wayne Brady, like really bunch of interesting people there. Yeah, so that I'm all down for Jake Johnson shenanigans. Can imagine him almost dying several times. Weird that there's a bunch of these movies about winning money by not dying coming out around the same time. So yeah, Dylan, what is your number 2?
Number 2, I went with BlackBerry. Says a company that toppled global giants before succumbing to the ruthlessly competitive forces of Silicon Valley. This is not a conventional tale of modern business failure by fraud and greed. The rise and fall of BlackBerry reveals the dangerous speed at which innovators race along the information highway. So obviously BlackBerry was a huge, the first smartphone and all these sorts of things. Company I know absolutely nothing about. I don't know like how they got to be so big. I don't know why they disappeared off the face of the earth. So
it's because we hate physical buttons.
Maybe, yeah. So as soon as I saw this, I was like, yeah, actually that is something I would definitely like to watch. And this isn't a documentary. This is a
narrative. Yeah.
Narrative. So Jay Baruchel, how do you say his last name? Baruchel? Yeah. He's playing Mike Lazardus, which I assume is like the Steve Jobs of BlackBerry. I don't know. In it. So yeah, it's based on a book as well. So you had some reviews come through, early reviews, and it's sitting at an 83 Metascore. So, but yeah, I didn't know about this. So I was like, yeah, hell yeah.
All right. My number 2, Bottoms, directed by Emma Segelman, starring Rachel Sennott and Aya Edeberry. It follows 2 unpopular girls in their senior year who start a fight club to try and impress and hook up with cheerleaders. What an idea! It's female fight club. Yeah, I'm down. Rachel Sennott is fantastic in everything I've seen her in. And she's very funny. Edeberry, she's very funny as well. So, Yeah, and with this crazy premise, that sounds like it'll be a winner. Dylan, what is your number one?
Number one is so apparently it's coming to Netflix, but I hadn't actually heard of it. And I watched the trailer and everything, and I was like, this looks like a wild movie. I'm down. So it's called Furries. Synopsis is: a mysterious woman trains a trio of girls to take revenge on a criminal gang that abuses females. The three lady warriors risk everything to challenge this corrupt empire. It's directed by and stars Veronica Go, who most people would remember as Paige Tico in episode 8 of Star Wars, who like dies when on the ship thing at the start. But then she was also in the Old Guard, and
that's what's her name? Sister, right?
Yeah, Rose, like her sister,
Rose's
who
sister, yeah.
does, yeah, Rose's sister, who did that sort of stuff. But she's also she's been around. She's done like martial arts movies and stuff like that prior to that, and then she was in that thing that everyone loved last year that I never actually got around to watching, The Princess.
The Princess
is one of some characters in that. So, but she's directing it as well, which I was like, oh, that's so it's like a female-led revenge story. The trailer is very sort of stylized. It's obviously a very dark subject matter, but it's almost pulpy, I guess, in the way that it's at least the trailer came across to me. So even though it's fucked up subject matter, it's got this pulpy aspect to it, and these girls just going for a revenge mission. The three of them just going around kicking ass and taking names, sort of thing. So I thought it looked pretty cool. I'm down for this. So this is out of the what things stood out that I'd never heard of at all, didn't even know much about, or this ticks all the boxes I think for the top 3 this week. So that was my number one.
All right, my number one. Beef. This is a new TV series coming to Netflix in partnership with A24, starring Stephen Yeun and Ali Wong. The show follows the aftermath of a road rage incident between two strangers. Danny Cho, a failing contractor with a chip on his shoulder, goes head-to-head with Amy Lau, a self-made entrepreneur with a picturesque life. The increasing stakes of their feud unravel their lives and relationships in this darkly comedic and deeply moving series. The listed genres are action, comedy, drama, and thriller. So, I mean, that's an interesting combination. Just the cast involved looks really good. Yeah, and just, there's this one image of Steve Yeun staring daggers at Ali Wong and then her staring daggers back. I mean, I'm keen to see them go up against each other. So, yeah, that's my number one.
Fair.
All right. Dylan, this week, what do you want to watch?
Scream 6, baby! Nearly gave it away at the start. Whew,
Yeah,
lucky I didn't.
Pretty sure. Unsurprising. Scream 6, also high on my list as well. So we will be doing a spoiler cast. They'll probably be out in the next 24 hours after this releases.
Yeah.
Hopefully. All things
running
smoothly.
Yeah, I'm watching it. This comes out Wednesday morning. I'm watching it.
No, this comes out Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday night? Actually, sorry. So it comes out Wednesday night. I'm watching this now.
Probably.
If you're listening to this, I'm in the cinema.
As soon as it comes out.
If you're listening to this when this drops, I'm in the cinema. By the time you get to this point in the podcast, I'm in the cinema.
Oh yeah, at this specific point.
Yeah, at this point, if you start listening to this at 6 o'clock when it drops, I'm in the cinema right now. I'm watching. I'm enjoying the movie. Hopefully.
Crazy.
Presumably, I'm enjoying the movie. If you've got a runner-up though, I'm hopefully going to watch. My plan is because I fly in for the Game Expo in Melbourne. I'm going to spend. I was looking at what I could watch Friday. Top of my list currently is Missing, which isn't showing around me, and I really want to watch.
Oh, okay.
I know that came out last week, I think. But
yeah,
that would be my runner-up. Those things I want to watch.
Interesting. Other highlights, Dylan. You can finally watch Banshees of Inisherin this week.
Oh, it's on Disney Plus this week.
Comes out Disney Plus on the 8th. But I'm surprised that you didn't mention big film coming out this week. 65.
Yeah. So here's my question.
Yeah.
Do I? So I looked. I could watch 65 Thursday.
Yeah.
I'm actually not working Thursday. I got it. I've had to switch days, so I'm working Wednesday this week.
Ooh.
So I was looking, and I'm like, I could go to 65 in the afternoon,
or
I could go watch it in Melbourne when I'm there because I'm there next day. This is the question. But my excitement level, my excitement level for 65 is nowhere near that of Scream. I
That's
want to
fair.
watch 65. I have no idea if it would be bad, terrible, or mediocre, but it's got Adam Driver, so it can't be that bad, surely.
That's a bold choice. So yeah. That's let us know what you want to watch this week by going to explosion.com/Twitter or jump into our Discord at explosion.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review, Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, leave us 5 stars, anywhere we can leave 5 stars, or just tell people about the show. And head on over to explosionnetwork.com, check out our news, reviews, podcasts, including, we did a Scream ranking episode and a Scream article. You should go check that out before you watch Scream 6. And if you enjoyed this episode, thought it was worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosion.com/support. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.
We'll sign that for the end of this episode. I was just looking on Twitter quickly, and I saw there was a quote from some interview where Nicolas Cage got asked if he wants to be in a Marvel movie, and his response was, I don't need to be in Marvel movies, I'm Nick Cage.
That's fair.
It's fair.